Rovers have long attracted buyers for their distinctive style, interior luxury, and off-road capability, but that's always come with some frustrations. How does the LR4 stack up? The LR4 continues with Land Rover's familiar styling. Now there's some benefits to its boxy shape. One of them is great visibility. There's big windows, especially to the front and the sides, and the roof pillar here is quite narrow. However, visibility to the back, well, it's impaired somewhat, especially when you have the third row seat up. Its big head restraints do block some of the view out of the rear. But when that seat's folded down, you can see that in the rear tailgate, there's a cutout. That window helps a bit. There's also an available backup camera. The Land Rover has a two-piece tailgate. It's kind of fussy to use. Unlike most luxury SUVs, you can't close it with just the touch of a button. Also, with the tailgate down, it's a long reach inside to load or unload items, but at least it gives you a place to sit. Being a big box on the outside means big boxes can fit inside. There's lots of cargo room inside of the LR4. All the seats fold flat, gives you lots of space. The LR4's utility carries through to the back seat. There's actually enough room for 3 adults to fit comfortably side by side. Getting back to the third row seat takes some work, but once you're back here, you'll find it's actually comfortable for 2 adults. Another nice touch, there's 3 sunroofs. The seats up front, they're large, they're well padded. They even have some neat features like this adjustable armrest. You sit up high, it's very chair-like, you have a commanding view. When you're not looking outside, there's a nice interior inside. Plush carpets, big pieces of wood, nice leather. Another thing you'll find inside is a dashboard with some poorly placed and unintuitive controls. One example is this touch screen. It's a long reach away, it's also slow to respond. Another thing, to honk the horn, you should be able to just mash the center hub of the steering wheel. Instead, you have to hit one of these little bars on either side. They could be hard to find in an emergency. It's not just the nicely finished and roomy interior that makes the LR4 a pleasant road trip car. The ride is firm. It soaks up most bumps pretty well. However, the suspension can become somewhat unsettled on uneven pavement. On the highway, though, it's a smooth sail. It's also pretty quiet inside of the LR4. The only thing you hear is some wind noise. Agility isn't a strong point. The big car, well, it leans and lumbers as it's hustled through the corners. Stability control keeps it secure, though. The LR4's V8 is a big improvement over the predecessor LR3's V8. Acceleration with this engine, well, it's smooth and effortless. Fuel economy, though, well, it's pretty much par for the course for a big SUV with this much power and this much weight. Also par for the course for a luxury SUV is it takes premium fuel. This engine does a great job at towing a trailer. The LR4 is also great off-road, as is expected of a Land Rover. It had no problem on our demanding rock hill. There's plenty of axle articulation and ground clearance. There's lots of off-road ready features too, including terrain response, which can be set to optimize traction in mud, snow, or sand. Air suspension gives an adjustable ride height. And there's low-range gearing and hill descent. Typically, when you buy an SUV that can tow a lot or is good off-road, you make a lot of concessions for comfort. Now, the LR4 doesn't force those. In fact, it has quite a bit to offer. One note, though, Land Rovers, traditionally, long-term reliability has not been good.